أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله رب العالمين Ya Ummah, Ya Ikhwan. Quick reflections as I am on my walk, my noonday walk. No need for me to reiterate what's already known, so I will speak on some things that I have previously mentioned, but I think it kind of goes over people's heads when I say that three of the major issues that bind us today are fraud, conspiracy, and conversion. And I'm going to tie the conversion into the tragic events that has recently occurred in San Diego. Oh, in the United States of America, there's a such thing called public and private. It exists in Islam as well. However, somehow the Muslims lose track of that. So, in regards to our deen, our religious affairs, right? Our religious rights. Under today's secular government structure, all those things are deemed private, meaning they have no place in the public. There are no laws written in support or against. However, as Muslims, we have been duped, following the Christian down the lizard hole, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said we would do, and trying to imitate them in their religious structures. They live under secularism and accept that. In Islam, there is no separation of church and state. So if you're not in a Muslim country where, Islam governs and the Sharia is what's in place, then your Islam really isn't valid in the sense of Islam must govern. And we know that it governs both public and private under Islamic law. However, here in America, like I said, we attempt to imitate the Christian who has traded his private religion for public benefits in the form of tax write-offs. So they go construct, they being someone who wants to start a church, go apply through the IRS code 501c3, religious organization, so on and so forth, so they can achieve that status. And again, unfortunately, many of the masjids have done the same thing, rendering them at the mercy of the public. What do I mean by that? I mean that lesbian, homos, gays, whoever wants to come and attend your services can pretty much attend your services because you receive public benefit. The public benefit of tax exemptions, write-offs, and so on and so forth, etc. So Muslims need to be aware of that. Muslims need to be aware that they have contracted their rights away for benefits and privileges, from being private men and women to becoming U.S. citizens in the form of public entities. The incorporation clause of the 14th Amendment has made all who operate under the term person a corporation. Thusly, When you're born, sometimes, well, most times, predominantly majority, if not all the times, when a child is born, they ask the mother, what's the child's name? They receive information from the mother. They put it on a form under the term informant. Therefore, the mother has snitched, gave up the drawings on her own offspring. Your offspring is converted. Thus, the conversion takes place. Your name appears in all capital letters once you apply for the social, and there you have it. It's on your birth certificate, all capitals. So therefore, the United States government is never dealing with men and women. The United States government is dealing with legal persons. Legal persons just like KFC, like Pepsi Cola, you know, like Pioneer Chicken, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. All those are considered legal persons in the eyes of the law. Legal persons can sue and be sued and own property, putting them on an equal par with human beings. Therefore, human beings are converted into legal persons, and in the process, exchange rights for benefits and privileges. The benefit and privilege is to make use of the Federal Reserve note to discharge your debts because there's no money in circulation. There's no lawful constitutional currency. According to the United States Constitution, U.S. coinage was in gold and silver. Coinage Act of 1792 established that. And so, ever since America went bankrupt, they've been operating under bankruptcy policies in regards to their relationships with international creditors. Muslims start masjids and open them up under 501c3 and put them in a particular tax bracket, and then they become legal persons by which the government can dictate. And it's a trade-off. But as I said, your religion is private. And so we need to revert back to private in the sense that you get a property, land, property. You put the property in private trust. The private trust can lease to a 501c3, meaning they have access to the building, right, and can conduct services, right? However, control of the gates and the property, that's a private property. You can't just walk in there. Private security, armed. These are our rights, brothers and sisters. But we have, as I said, traded our rights for the benefits and the privileges of operating and being public property. And as public property, when we have issues such as what took place, we pretty much surrender our response to public servants. Public servants call the police department. Unfortunately, and this is not a shot at police, but we know for sure that some of these nefarious operators are actually police. They're actually sheriff and other alphabet organizations. So we don't ever, we're blameful for putting our security in the hands of anyone else. And that's basically what I wanted to say, because I've given the blueprint: fraud, conspiracy, conversion. Fraudulent in misrepresentation of the facts. conspiracy and multiple people enjoying in it, and the conversion of you, me, us, from a lot of eyeless creation and sign to legal fiction. U.S. citizen. You do not have to be a U.S. citizen. That is a choice. So, inshallah, brothers and sisters, maybe we can get our comprehension up to speed, And another thing is, you can't just expect your imam to have all the answers, as it is apparent. So, inshallah, in this tragic time of self-reflection, I'm extremely cussed, y'all. And I say that we got to put our best foot forward. May Allah guide us and protect us and grant us victory, inshallah. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.